Is official, another impeachment trial for former President Trump. Yep, yesterday, impeachment managers delivered an article from the House to the Senate, and that gives 2 weeks of preparation before the impeachment trial begins on February 8th.
Here to address the impeachment and give us an update from Washington is Representative Mondaire Jones. Good morning to you, Mr. Jones. Thanks for being here this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Congressman, first time here as officially a congressman. We had you here after you won, but now you're sworn in, so congratulations in order. Hey, now that President Trump is out of office, right, there's this focus now on the trial. Do you see the trial going the way you would like it to, 17 Republicans going over to the side to vote to impeach and convict?
You know, what I want the American people to understand is that the conviction of Donald Trump in the United States Senate should be on a nonpartisan basis. This is something that happened to all of us, our democracy having been under assault on January 6th. And so I remain hopeful that Republicans of good conscience in the Senate will do the right thing. We've heard Mitch McConnell say that Donald Trump does bear responsibility for the acts on January 6th, which nearly resulted in the deaths of people like myself and certainly resulted in the deaths of several other people, including Capitol Police officers, who many of the folks who are going to be considering the conviction say they are supportive of when they say things like back the blue. And so I'm hopeful that they'll do the right thing.
Well, I have to ask you, because we have been hearing that there is concern that Republicans are losing interest in this. It's kind of losing some steam. Are you going to be reaching out to colleagues and trying to do some convincing, if you will?
You know, I remain ready to convince anyone who is open to doing the right thing. You know, I don't think anyone in the United States Senate doubts the responsibility that Donald Trump bears in connection with January 6th. Unfortunately, today, people are still worried about politics,
right?
And instead of doing the right thing. And so those overtures are being made by myself and many other folks. But, you know, it remains to be seen whether Republicans in the Senate will rise to the occasion and save our democracy.
And I think, you know, a lot of people are worried that this may take attention away from other big matters that are happening at the very same time. So that has been something that's been tossed out there, right? Can all of this be handled at the same time in terms of taking away focus on other urgent matters, including the pandemic and the vaccine rollout? What are your thoughts?
I think the way that we frame this is critical. To distract from the saving of our democracy, the protection of our democracy, because the vote that will happen after the conviction of Donald Trump would be a vote to permanently bar him from running from federal office, so that something like what happened on January 6th can never happen again. That is critical. Anything else is not and so that's not a distraction from the other things that need to happen. We can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Right.
We've seen the impeachment trial proceed, even as Congress deliberates and continues to draft legislation with respect to COVID-19 relief and critical democracy reforms, which I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, well, you have had, about a week now working under this new Biden administration. Talk to us about how it's going. Did things feel different with this new administration? What are you experiencing?
Well, some people have said that most folks on day 4 of their new job, if they had nearly died, would have quit. But I got to tell you, I am more resolved than ever before to deliver for the American people, to deliver a comprehensive immigration reform, which has been the subject of public reporting in recent days. Joe Biden has submitted legislation to give us finally a humane immigration policy. I had my own experience with a constituent who he recently had to save from deportation to a country he's never even been to in the final days of the Trump administration. So we urgently need to do that. And it will also bolster our economy. We know that immigrants help to make this economy the greatest economy in the entire world.
So let me ask you about that, because you just brought up the immigration, right? And Paul Perilous was his name, born in St. Martin. His parents were from Haiti. So St. Martin didn't claim him. The U.S. didn't claim him. So they wanted to send him back to Haiti, which he had never even been to. 218,000 Americans actually faced that same fate, right? So what do you see immigration in terms of helping those individuals, plus furthering the immigration reforms?
Yeah, many people, to your point, don't know that over 200,000 people who are currently in the United States are defined as stateless. It means they're not a citizen or even a permanent resident of any nation in the world. And that was the case for Mr. Peerless, who has been an upstanding member of our Rockland County community for literally decades and really only knows the United States of America. So we have to make sure that we are prioritizing individuals like that, as also our dreamers. And the legislation that President Joe Biden has outlined provides an 8-year pathway to citizenship for people who are here, who are obeying the law, who are upstanding members of our community. And Paul Peerless would be one of those folks.
Congressman, you've watched the president take swift action when it comes to immigration. Are you impressed with the road that it's headed down at this point? What are you going to be doing to, I guess, booster that, if you will?
Yeah, let me start by saying that we are all beneficiaries of the leadership of this new president of the United States. In the first few days, he ended things like the racist, xenophobic Muslim ban. He did things like put a 100-day halt on deportation so that we can take a serious, humane look at who we are deporting. Mr. Peerless, if that executive order had been in place just a few days earlier in the final days of the Trump administration, would not have needed his member of Congress to step in at the 11th hour to save him on that tarmac from being deported to a country where he had never been. I'm really grateful for this immigration bill. President Biden has introduced it in his first 100 days, which means it takes a top priority in his eyes. And I know that people all across this country, regardless of party affiliation, feel the same way. Remember, it was George W. Bush who proposed comprehensive immigration reform. I'm old enough to remember that just a decade or so ago.
Congressman, we were almost out of time here. I just want to squeeze in one more question because you've had a very busy first few weeks in office, right? Voting to impeach for the president. You've also called to expel some House Republicans, and you're also calling for an investigation into the Capitol Police regarding the insurrection. All of this swirling around the pandemic, and your constituents wondering about a vaccine and the shortages of that vaccine. About 20 to 30 seconds left here. Your thoughts on the vaccine rollout, and will it improve in the weeks to come?
We had not had a national testing or vaccination strategy prior to the inauguration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We are already seeing a sea change. And of course, it's not soon enough, because I know from speaking with my constituents in my own district in Westchester and Rockland that it is still a tremendous struggle to get a vaccination. So I'm going to be fighting to provide more doses to states like New York, in addition to direct aid, which this COVID-19 relief bill that President Biden has proposed would do. It contains $350 billion for states and local municipalities. We know that New York State should be at the very top of that list, given the budget shortfall that it faces, the tax revenue that it provides to the federal government, and frankly doesn't get its fair share back. So that's why you have folks like me and other members of the New York congressional delegation fighting for those resources.
Well, we can hear your passion, that's for sure. Congressman, thanks so much for stopping by today. It's always great to see you, and congratulations again on your history-making seat there. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Welcome back anytime, sir.